Hey everybody, this is Limited Kirajin, and we're doing another cool review this week, and this is from Takari Tomy, and this is from the Transformers Masterpiece, and this is from Beast Wars, and this is the Maximals, and this is Optimus Primal, or technically in the Japanese, he is Convoy Beast War, or Convoy, that's his name. So, I don't know, so the whole thing behind Optimus Prime, for me, I'm just saying, in Japan, his name is Convoy, and all the other variants always have that same name. Convoy, in the US is usually applied to those trucks all driving the same road together as a convoy. But yeah. So this is Optimus Primal, and if you grew up in the 90s, you grew up watching this show. I did. A lot of people, like, if you try to watch it now, they'll probably kind of turn off because of the computer animation was really, at the time, it was super advanced stuff, but as of now, it's outdated. But it was pretty cool. I thought the whole gimmick between Optimus Prime as a gorilla, I thought was the coolest thing. And that always goes back to resonant with King Kong, because I love King Kong. King Kong was up there with Godzilla. Such a cool giant monster. So I love the whole gimmick of the Transformers. I love that Megatron was a T-Rex. It was a really good show. Towards I think when they did the whole ending of the series, and they went back to the planet, it kind of went just sideways. I was not a fan of that. But so this is, I guess, this is a masterpiece. This came out a couple years ago. I know there are bootleg versions. I actually got mine's legit, and I double check, because there are ways to know if yours is fake or not as a third party. If you're gonna buy a third party, because I did actually have the third party one, but after I found the actual legit one, I got it for about the same price. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna sell the bootleg one and keep the original one, and that's what I did. I do have the bootleg Megatron T-Rex. I'll show that comparison to show the size and everything. So, of course, if I do remember, I would definitely try to explain how you can tell, because I think the legit one has a little number aside of his leg, and the third part doesn't. That's how you can tell the difference. And then the box is also could be a little paint, or it could just be a little off. If you actually have the actual box and you compare it, you can tell it's a little faded compared to the third party one on KO. So let's open this baby up and get a better look inside. Alright guys, so first let's check out his accessories. And right away it comes with his growling kind of mouth opening. I don't know why, but I'm not a fan of this one. Second one, him is kind of like smiling. And then his two swords that he usually uses in the show. Really cool. And his expressions of his face with him transform. Him kind of like not being serious with him. I don't know, they all kind of look the same, but his eyes are a little bit open and more closed. But yeah. Alright guys, so I'm gonna put the light a little bit more so you guys can see. Like him doesn't move. Yeah, it moves. So first we're gonna test him in his gorilla form. He does have not bad articulation. He does have kind of like a, so you can have him kind of like a butterfly, but the back instead of the front. And I think that's to mimic him like crawling with his arms as well as a gorilla does. He does have some articulation when it comes to his neck. He does swirl to the side. That's really cool. It kind of switches up so you can move him more, and then you push him back down so he blends in to give him that. And he has no articulation when it comes to his stomach to his hips, but he's still well. First, it's bent his arms all the way around, and it has this weird kind of gap and then goes back like that. Now again, he has no articulation to his stomach, to his hips, so he does kick to an extent. Hold on, move this to the side. He does bend maybe a little, not a lot. I'm not sure. No, it's just one-sided piece. I think like that. So when he's like crawling, he's like this, and I'm thinking he's like this. So this part doesn't bend like feet, you know, like anything like that. He does have ankle privilege in a way, and he does have a little bit of a articulation ball joint. So yeah, that's it on this gorilla form. Now let's see him with transform form. Alright guys, so this is him transform. Man, he looks so cool. I always like this form of Optimus Prime, especially when he transforms to his you know, Autobot mode. I dig the colors. I was freaking liked it. And then if I'm not mistaken, in the show he can fly. He can fly, and then he had multiple weapons. He had 2 cannons, and then he had 2 smaller tiny cannons. Then he had the 2 swords he had. I really like this form. I did not like his second form when he got all chrome. I was not a fan of that. I was okay with the bigger form he got in the third when he kind of had to use Optimus Primal's the original Prime Spark, and so he became bigger as a result. But to me, this is always going to be my favorite variant of Optimus Primal. I just digged his look, man. I really like it. Really cool. So let's test the articulation now. His articulation, I feel like it's a little bit more articulated when he's transformed. His hands do move a little bit more because they're not limited because of this part. Now he still has that kind of butterfly joint. He does move forward. He still has the same hands effects. His head can go up almost all the way around, but mine feels a little stiff. I don't know because it's pre-owned or maybe because there's a wire inside. Could be because of the wire, because this lights up. So when you press down, his eyes actually light up. Mine don't have batteries, or probably did. I don't know. I haven't touched this in forever. That is the way. Now in this form, he does have like more articulation. You hear that ball joint kind of. He does kick pretty high up. He does have that forward bending. He has a little bit of ball joint there. That's really cool, man. This thing is really cool on this form. And then this is cool thing right here. So this actually goes down, but I think they have this option, or needs to click in. Or maybe I could be wrong, but I think they have this option if you want to have him a little bit more moving around. But I just clicked it back in, and I'm not going to show you the rest. I did not want to show you guys the transforming part because, again, it was not hard as I thought it would be, but it was still a little tricky, especially the feet part the legs parts were a little tricky. I think that's what I was struggling more about, but yeah. I was going to film it, but I'm like, nah, I'm just going to film it outside, then that's it. So, let's show him his blasters on. So he has his 2 cannons, and he has the small cannons that are right here, and they're kind of hard to open a little. And you have to pull it so you can take them out, and so you can do this side. So okay, and now he has his other cannons. Oh man, this is so cool. He's firing, and he's flying too. Ah man, that's really cool. Again, so he's supposed to light up from his eyes, but do not have batteries for him. And he does have changeable faces, expressions. You guys want to see that? Face off. You just have to pull a little bit of the chin part. Oh my gosh, I'm struggling with my. I just did it right now off the camera. There we go. Now, I feel like doing that too many times, it will break it. But you guys want to see without his little mouth shield? That's how he looks without it. He looks pretty cool, even without his mouth cover. You know, his little mouth cover shield. Yeah, he looks really cool. Doesn't get the light inside. Look at that. That looks really sick. But yeah. Well, that's just Prime. And let's put some of his weapons. And again, his hands are articulated, so it does have that little kind of like a. There we go. You have to put it. If I'm not mistaken. There's like a little shaft, like a little plastic thing that connects to the hand. So, and then you. Ooh. Well, either way. There, which is like weird baton looking sword thing. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think these also go on his back. So let's do that now. Just so you can see how one of his hands holding it. And then the other one, I'm thinking, maybe it goes like this. I could be wrong. Or maybe when he's flying mode, he can have him. I'm not 100% sure. Where's this side? Okay, so yeah, he has them like this. Huh. He just can't sit. But yeah, so let's actually compare him to the KO version of Megatron, the T-Rex. And he's right next to Megatron. Now, my Megatron's really dusty right now. Sorry about that, guys. You guys can capture that. But man, look at this size comparison. And it makes sense because technically he's a T-Rex. So, like, wherever they scan to transform, to copy transform, they adapt to the size. And because the T-Rex was technically bigger than a gorilla, they could just, that's just crazy. Now again, this is a third-party one that I got a couple years ago, and I did a review about it, and I was very excited for it, and I'm very happy I still have it in my collection now. I got him in, like, let's just say the last 2 years or year and a half, and I just haven't had time to review him. But look how they look. They look really cool. I remember he always say, Megatron would say, oh, like, he would have this kind of thing that he would say, oh, yes. Like, kind of like a weird kind of like accent. Oh, yes. Like, he would say that a lot. I don't know if you guys seen the new Netflix. I guess the some of the characters came back. Like, they brought the characters back to a new series on Netflix. And I'm be honest, it's just my opinion. I'm not a fan of the voice they use for the new Megatron, the T-Rex one. It's just, it sounded so weird for me. Maybe a lot of people liked him, but I did not like the new voice that they did. I wish that they brought back the original voice, or at least someone similar to the one from the 90s show. But yeah. So I just show you guys the side comparison. That is really cool. So just to show you how big Megatron is to Optimus Primal, man, that's just crazy. But yeah. So before I forget, so what I read online, and I could be wrong, that supposedly the way you can find out this is a legit one or a bootleg is that the legit ones have these weird numbers you guys can see right here, as the third party one, KO, doesn't. And I actually did have the KO one, and it did not have the numbers, actually. So I'm like, huh, that's interesting to know. That's why I kind of like, when I purchased this one, I was like, okay, I think this is the legit one. Unless they changed that now, and the third parties started doing the same thing with the numbers. But back then, like a couple years ago, wasn't like that. Alright, guys, so that's it. Let's talk about the good and the bad about this. I have no negativity about it. No negative. I can mess with it. I really like this figure. I always like Optimus Primal, and I actually used to have the original toy that came out in the 90s, and it was a surprise gift from my mom. It made my day when she used to surprise me with this Transformer. Well, not this one, but the original one from the 90s. It makes me want to get it back or find a similar one. I wish I never got rid of it, but man. when you're young and you become a teenager, you're like, oh, I just want to sell this stuff, not really thinking about nostalgic stuff when you're a kid. But yeah, so I have no negativity about it, guys. Positive, it looks really cool. It looks accurate, especially when you have him transform in his transformer mode. He looks really cool. Don't get me wrong, his gorilla mode looks cool, but I really dig the way he looks right now. So I'm definitely gonna have him display like that with Megatron. So I think I could be wrong, but I think when it retail, it was like maybe 129 or 140. But I actually got him for about $70-$80, which I think was free shipping, and I was through Mercari. And again, I'll show you the price now. I purchased mine through Mercari through $80, and I got it years ago. I got it a couple like maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I think even maybe before pandemic, maybe 2019 or 2018, maybe more than a couple years ago. But I got it for a good price. Now, for a while, he was going for a pretty penny, but then the KO one came out, and as a result, it affected the price of the original one. So the price did drop over time, and I think he was now going for 115, 119, 130, or even under 100. So that's cool. Either of those two are cool, but I went with the legit one and sold my KO years ago. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this. This is Limitless KRGN, and any way to help the channel out, please do a thumbs up, subscribe, share, any way to help the channel out. And it goes to say adios and keep on collecting. Bye.